What's good, y'all? I'm Jerry, about to check out 10 unusual demands wrestlers made to other wrestlers. This video is by Woke Culture Wrestling. And I don't really know too much about the video, man. I know wrestlers kind of abuse their powers a lot when they get to the main event scene and get to making a lot of money. They start to abuse their powers and they start to like make special requests inside the ring and try to protect their character as much as possible, man. So let me not do too much talking anymore, but I want y'all to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to, man. So let's hop into it.
From inviting a fellow wrestler to shed some blood in the squared circle, to ordering an Olympic gold medalist to slam them like they mean it. These are those times wrestlers may be asked a little bit too much of their comrades. I'm Gareth from What Culture Wrestling, and these are 10 unusual demands wrestlers made to other wrestlers. Number 10, Riddle asks Randy Orton to help him apologize to the Tribal Chief. Forming one of the most unlikeliest of bromances in modern times, Riddle and Randy Orton's on-screen chemistry appears to
I can't wait till Randy Orton come back.
Real-life affection between the two, and with Riddle being something of a relative newcomer on the main roster, upon linking up with the Apex Predator, it only made sense for the one-time NXT star to go to the veteran worker for some assistance on the back of pissing off a certain Tribal Chief during a promo. As Riddle would explain on the My Love Letter to Wrestling podcast, the former Raw Tag Team Champion asked his fellow one-time tag champ to look over his written apology to Roman Reigns, to which Orton responded by telling his partner, "Nah, this is all wrong, this is what you write." Riddle continued, "And then he sent me an apology back where there was no apology at all. But he knows this chief better than I do, so I was like, okay. I sent this apology, and let's just say he did not accept it." You'd think this combustible long-time WWE star would have mastered the art of apologizing for his mistakes by now, eh? Number 9, DDP asks Triple H to stop using the cutter. It wasn't that difficult to see why all-round wrestling good guy Diamond Dallas Page was so excited to see his diamond cutter start connecting with the WCW audience back in the day, and why he was so damn gutted once he spotted another star utilizing the move on Raw. Instead of sitting back and crossing his fingers that Triple H would cease using DDP's precious cutter down the line, though, the one-time WCW World Champion was left thinking, man, if he takes that, I've got to call him. Sure enough, as Page would reveal on the DDP Snake Pit podcast, the game answered the call and the two pals eventually addressed the match-ending elephant in the room. Bottom line is, I said, you know bro, I'm just really starting to get this diamond cutter over. It's giving me some serious momentum. I saw you do it the other night to beat a guy, and I get it, and I don't have the right to ask you, but you're so much younger than me. The pedigree is amazing. If you wouldn't use it anymore, I'd really appreciate it. Tripp simply responded with a respectful done deal, and resumed pedigreeing his way to the top of the industry. Number 8, CJ Perry.
And the pedigree is one of the best finishers of all time.
CJ Perry's desire to take a brutal table bump eventually paved the way for her being put through the announce desk on every edition of Monday Night Raw for 2 months straight. This was actually a rather bizarre dream for the one-time Lana for some time, however, with Perry eventually noting that she'd wanted to go through a table for years. But her then boss Vince McMahon and husband Miro were both often against the idea of her going through the object. Perry would even go as far to confess to Busted Open Radio that she begged to go through a table for a really long time, with the former Rusev often replying to this request with a simple absolutely not, do you want to die? The former WWE star would even go as far as to admit, I'm actually a big believer that the table thing with Nia would have never happened if Miro was there because he was so protective over me. And so after finally going full Batista and convincing McMahon to give her what she wanted, the never-ending table bump train was born. Number 7, Chris Jericho tells Private Party to change their theme. When certain wrestling veterans open their mouths, it's wise to quickly shut yours and latch onto every drop of wisdom that tumbles out of it. And that's something AEW duo Private Party figured out very quickly upon nudging all-round legend Chris Jericho for advice pretty early on in their all-elite run. As Isaiah Cassidy would recall on the AEW Unrestricted podcast a few years back, we were talking to Jericho and we asked him what can we do to be a better tag team. He said first you need to get a new song, something that fits you. So, in a tweak that wouldn't have been obvious for most up-and-coming workers, the duo quickly set about adding a personal touch to their entrance theme, with Cassidy actually contributing to the lyrics with the chorus after working with some of his rapper pals to create the short song. In another interesting detail, Cassidy's own girlfriend added the "Oh my god, is that Private Party" opening sequence to the mix too, with Isaiah feeling this would be perfect for those moments when the twosome are called upon to perform a run-in, when they can get on television, that is. Number 6, Rhea Ripley wanted Bianca Belair Belair to tattoo her leg.
Wow.
Jumping back to 2019, in the thick of a weekend that saw an NXT Survivor Series invasion and Takeover War Games event, Rhea Ripley had a rather intense idea for herself and Bianca Belair during the latter titular showdown. As the Australian would reveal to the Wrestling Friends podcast, I wanted to get a battery-powered tattoo gun, and I wanted Bianca to rip the fishnet in my pants, and I wanted Bianca to tattoo lips on my leg while everyone held me down. I wanted it so bad. This being WWE, the bold idea was inevitably nixed due to the company questioning how hygienic the spot would be. But who knows, perhaps the Judgment Day powerhouse can convince Papa H to let her whip out her tattoo gun on the main roster in the new TV14 era.
You never know.
Number 5, John Cena doesn't want other people adjusting attitudes.
For real?
John Cena wasn't quite as polite as DDP when stumbling upon folks incorporating a similar maneuver to his attitude adjustment. As noted by typically reliable source of wrestling news, Fightful Sean Ross Sapp, the now Gabby Tuft, formerly known as Tyler Rex, recalled being met by a rather blunt face that runs the place upon using a similar-looking Death Valley driver during one of their matches. In Sapp's words on the situation, Tyler Rex told me a story one time about how he went through the curtain after doing his inverted Death Valley driver, and John Cena didn't go off on him but was like, "What is that? That's too similar to my move, don't do it again." Tuft wasn't the only one to experience Cena's odd possessiveness over the move either, with the Fightful reporter also explaining, "And I have actually heard that about multiple people as it pertains to John Cena and their finishing move, that if it looked similar to his, then he was like, don't do it. Simply put, if you were spotted using a variation of the Burning Hammer by this top star, a swift FU was heading your way."
Damn.
Number 4, Ronda Rousey wants Becky Lynch to not hold back. After dramatically arriving on the scene in 2018, Ronda Rousey was not content with her fellow stars taking it easy on her, despite her rookie status within the industry. So when faced with
That's
a scenario
understandable.
being
She came
jumped
from
by a crutch-wielding
UFC,
Becky
so
Lynch during 2019's
it would be
Elimination
wrong for
Chamber
them to
pay-per-view,
take it
the
easy on
former
her. She
UFC
came from
bantamweight
mixed
champion
martial arts
had one
fighting.
brutal request for the man: hit her as hard as she could. This desire to have the beatdown look as realistic as possible more than did the trick too, but at a cost. With Lynch getting so into the attack that Rousey wound up with a split open head and a cut on her elbow that required stitches. Rousey was also said to have requested something similar when colliding with Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series 2018, telling the Queen to entirely commit to her kendo stick shots on Ronda. All in all, it was clear this former MMA master was hell-bent on bringing the realism to her on-screen rivalries from the get-go. Number 3, Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson need to bleed together. AEW's Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson have one rather savage thing in common. They both don't half enjoy a bit of violence. So with the American Dragon doing everything in his power to convince the purveyor of violence to join forces with him in his quest to mentor the next generation, add some legitimacy to AEW programming, and rise to the top of the all-elite ranks in the lead-up to Revolution 2022, it soon became clear what strange demand would need to be met before the former world champions agreed to an unlikely partnership. As Mox epically put it on the February 16th edition of Dynamite, "I don't stand side by side with nobody until I bleed with them first."
Damn.
And that's precisely what happened when the eventual Blackpool Combat Club pillars collided at the pay-per-view, with the badasses beating the piss out of one another to the point of producing some inevitable colour before a debuting William Regal eventually stepped in post-war to bang the hard nuts heads together. You bloody love to see it, don't you? Number 2, Rhea Ripley wants Zelina Vega to make a mark. If you needed another reminder of just how far Rhea Ripley is willing to go for the sake of making a moment memorable on WWE television, your presenter gives you the time the Nightmare ordered royalty to leave her with a very real mark on Monday Night Raw. And while you typically won't find too many folks
dedicated you are to your career, to your craft. You want to make it so realistic to the point where you want to put your body through so much stuff.
Discovered for herself back on March 21st Red Show. As the Queen's Crown winner recalled during WWE's recent Comic-Con panel, her on-screen rival was so determined to leave the audience wincing in their seats that she threatened to never talk to Vega again if she held back on her planned shots with her trusty weapon. As she put it, "I broke it on Rhea's back like twice." Fellow panelist Cody Rhodes' stun reaction of "Oh my god" tells you how reluctant most average workers would be to willingly suffer the pain of being smashed with this sort of object. But Ripley clearly welcomed the welts and wore them like a sick badge of honour in the aftermath. Number 1, Mae Young tells Kurt Angle to spike her ass. As you've already seen on a number of occasions over the course of this list, it's not too uncommon to find an up-and-coming star requesting for their fellow wrestler to add some additional intensity to their interactions audience as a way of forcing folks to sit up and take notice. However, this still rather bizarre demand to take things up a few legitimate notches with your colleague was taken to new extremes back in early 2000, with Kurt Angle suddenly being ordered to dump a wrestling legend with some extreme force. Said legend was none other than an 82-year-old Mae Young, who had cornered the Olympic gold medalist backstage before
Mae Young and Moolah was
on an episode of
tough
Raw
as
in February
hell
of that
during
year.
that time.
Angle himself would
As
recall
old
on his
women
podcast last
getting
year.
put through
So before
tables
we
and
had it
having
out,
moves done
we
on
were
them.
in gorilla position,
That's crazy.
and Mae Young comes up to me and says, "Mr. Angle, I want to tell you what I want you to do to me tonight." I said, "Okay, Mae." She said, "I want you to spike my ass as hard as you can into that mat. I want you to angle slam me as hard as you possibly can." And this wasn't the only time Young demanded her male colleagues deliver the physicality either, with Bob Holly revealing a similar story of being reluctant to nail Mae with a stiff clothesline, only to be told to bring it mother effer by the octogenarian. They just don't make them like they used to, do they?
Yeah,
And
no.
that's our list. Know of any other unusual demands wrestlers made to other wrestlers? Let us know all about them in the comments section.
Alright, y'all, great video, man. Leave a comment down below what y'all thought of my reaction to this video and what y'all thought of the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. I'm out.